Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my Sunday Magdalene Church, where we discuss all things of Magdalene's gospel and teachings and life and true history. Today, this is part 2 of discussing the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. I'm reading from this version here. So here we're discussing, she says, freed from this third climate, the soul continues its ascent and finds itself in a fourth climate. And this has 7 manifestations. The first is darkness. The second is craving. The third, ignorance. The fourth, lethal jealousy. Fifth, enslavement to the body. Sixth, intoxicated wisdom. Seventh, guileful wisdom. These are the 7 manifestations of wrath, and they oppress the soul with questions like, where do you come from, murderer? And where are you going, vagabond? And the soul answers, that which oppressed me has been slain, and that which encircled me has now vanished. My craving has faded, and I am freed from my ignorance. I left the world with the aid of another world. A design was erased by virtue of a higher design, and henceforth I travel toward repose where time rests itself in eternity. And then Andrew began to speak and said to the other brothers, tell me, what do you think of these things that she's been telling us? As for me, I do not believe that the teacher would speak like this. These ideas are too different from those we have known. And Peter added, how is it possible the teacher talked in this way with a woman about secrets of which we ourselves, as men, are ignorant? Must we now change our customs and listen to a woman? Did he really choose her and prefer her over us? Then Mary wept and answered, my brother Peter, what can you be thinking? Do you honestly believe this is of my own imagination, that I invented this vision? Or do you believe that I would lie about our teacher? Peter, you've always been hot-tempered, and now we see you repudiating a woman just as our adversaries do. Yet if the teacher held her worthy, then who are you to reject her? Surely the teacher knew her very well, and he loved her more than any of us. Therefore, let us atone and become fully human, so that the teacher can take root in us, and let us grow as he demanded of us, and walk forth to spread his gospel without trying to lay down any rules and laws other than those that we witnessed. So here we have all this evidence of the hatred, the division between the men and the women that was there present at the time of Christ. It's so obvious. Actually, the men used to have arguments. Peter and Paul, who was originally Saul, they had discussions over whether a woman had a soul. So such were the divides between men and women. So Jesus was actually really radical, allowing Mary Magdalene to teach and to heal, and calling her the apostle to the apostles, placing her at the helm of his ministry upon his death. Not Peter's, of course. This is a mistake. Here she's discussing a third climate that the soul has attained on its ascent to the kingdom. So on our ascent, we leave the senses and the sense of egoic self that we have, that is attached to this world and the objects and the people of this world. And we renounce that during our moments of prayer. And we enter into this ascent where we leave all things of the flesh and of this world to attain all things of the eternal world and our eternal spiritual senses with our eternal spiritual body. And this should be our aspiration at our time of chanting and praying. So here she's saying, now we find ourselves in the next climate, the fourth climate, And this has 7 manifestations. So here now we're dealing with the 7 sins. the 7 veils, the 7 places where the soul connects and chains itself to the flesh through the senses. The first manifestation is darkness. Darkness manifests in so many ways in this world. But how can I condense what darkness is? Darkness is anything that takes you away from God. Anything that takes you away from your soul center, from your moral compass. That is darkness. If it's ignorance, too much time immersed in the mundane, and not enough time spent with God, you will feel that darkness creep upon your soul, so it must be overcome. The second is craving. Now, craving drives us. Craving is what makes us do everything that we do all day and night. All of the sins come from craving. Sexual cravings, food cravings, there's shopping cravings, there's I must own cravings, I must succeed cravings, I must have, I must possess, I must be liked. There's so many cravings that we have, and all of them must be given up. Ignorance is the doorway into darkness. So when we turn ourselves away from God consciousness, we look towards the mundane world for our happiness, and we spend our time engaging with the objects and the places and the people and the things of this world. As long as we do that, we will be drawn into passions, cravings, and ignorance, because we turn away from God. Unless we utilize our time with God, then all of these things can be given up in an instant. The next is lethal jealousy. So with lethal jealousy, she calls jealousy lethal. Why? Because jealousy is the doorway to all aparad. Aparad means turning away from the goddess, turning away from Radha, turning away from the feminine divine. The feminine divine turns her face away from those who commit aparad. Aparad means to speak ill of others, to, instead of raising each other up, we tear each other down. Why do we do that? We do it because we feel inferior, we feel afraid, we feel like somebody has something that we don't, so we tear them down, we bring them down. This is what lethal jealousy does. Lethal jealousy is also the doorway to gossip and rumors. So all of these things are very dangerous for spiritual life, and here she says it must be given up. The next, the 5th climate, is the enslavement to the body. So enslavement to the body means that your body is driving what you do all day and night. So this is what she means by enslavement to the body, enslavement to the mind, enslavement to the senses, the objects of the body that pulls you towards physical, fleshly experiences, rather than to the internal spiritual experiences that are without the egoistic mind, where you let go of everything to do with the body, including the ego, because the ego belongs to the body. Next is intoxicated wisdom. So intoxicated wisdom is the doorway of pride. When you know so much, the ego gets invested and thinks that it is better than others. It increases one's pride. Pride is not good for spiritual life. It must be given up. So guileful wisdom implies that you're using your wisdom, your spiritual knowledge, your spiritual understanding for some guileful reason. You have some ulterior motive to what you're doing. There is some loophole. When Goddess fills you with wisdom, it is meant to be shared with one and all, as Christ shared with one and all, for free. You can't put a price tag on spiritual life. If you do, it's a business transaction. Be wise. We should seek wisdom. We should seek truth by studying the Holy Scriptures and by learning from holy masters, that this transcendental sound vibration can go into our consciousness, tear us away from all of our illusions. And I want to share this spiritual wisdom with others, and there is no ulterior motive behind it other than divine love. So she calls all of these 7 manifestations wrath. So darkness, craving, ignorance, lethal jealousy, enslavement to the body, mind, and senses, intoxicated wisdom, guileful wisdom, that these are 7 manifestations of wrath. Wrath is the doorway of grave anger, harmful anger, the kind of anger that stalls you in your spiritual life. Anger is just the doorway to wrath, because wrath implies that you want to cause harm to others. We raise them up and then we tear them down. And it's absolutely not okay. We should not go down that road. So we must be careful of what we do with our anger, by the strength of our Lord and Lady's love and by the strength of Holy Name. Holy Name has the power to overcome all these darknesses, all this wrath, all this craving and ignorance and lethal jealousy and enslavement to the body and guileful wisdom and intoxicated wisdom and pride. All of these things are easily and effortlessly washed away in the holy names, in the practice of chanting. So now she says, these things, they oppress the soul. And the soul answers by saying, that which once oppressed me has now been slain. So now she's saying, we have the ability to slay the demons of our wrath, the doorway to these 7 manifestations of wrath that she's talking about. Freed from my ignorance, I left this world with the aid of another world. Here she says it, by design. A design was erased by virtue of a higher design. So by God's divine mercy, which so effortlessly flows down from the eternal realm into our heart, into the grail cup of our consciousness through Radha and Krishna, God and Goddess, these holy names have the power to vanquish and conquer over all of these ignorances, all of these sins, all of these lower things that are chaining us to misery. So now she's saying, these things have been slain. So without God's mercy, without the mercy of Gurudev, without the mercy of your teacher, you cannot expect to have these divine experiences. It is by grace, by their grace, that these manifestations of mercy come into the heart and these unchainings naturally take place, chanting in the experience of your spiritual practices. After Christ has died on the cross, Magdalene has come there to pacify the group of followers, but the men are upset that a woman is now seemingly taking leadership by speaking of things that the men had never heard Christ speak of. So this is where the lethal jealousy Magdalene just spoke of. She just spoke of it, and here we go. Peter and Andrew immediately jump on her bones and disbelieve her because she's a woman. I see this in every manifestation of religion, is this distinction between man and woman. We are not these bodies. These bodies are simply a fleshly experience that our soul is currently having. We are not these bodies. We are eternal spiritual souls having a fleshly experience. This is something that must be given up, because no matter what body someone is in, divine manifestation is there within that body. Having a dog break. Jesus held Magdalene more worthy than the men, that he never rejected her for being a woman, that he included her in all of these spiritual discussions. He held her in high esteem, and he even had her speak and heal, and the men did not like it. Judgment of, no, you're a woman, therefore you can't do this, you can't do that, we won't treat you the same as we do if you're a man. Magdalene is discussing it. You see it. These men, they are going up against her. They're judging her for being a woman, and Jesus did not do that. He did not agree with that. He was saying, no, we are all spiritual beings. We are all brothers and sisters. We are all equal. Here Levi is reminding the group to become fully human. What does it mean? What does he mean, become fully human? He's telling them to become fully human. Well, we are human. What do you mean, become fully human? Stop behaving like animals. You're behaving like animals, men. Look at the way you're treating the women. You're behaving like animals. You're not even human. Become human. Become a gentleman. Become a man of thought. So right here, this is the start, the evidence of Peter's hatred of Mary Magdalene. So there we have it. Mary Magdalene speaks very clearly about these 7 veils. And I've documented these 7 veils in great detail within my book, Woman in Red, Magdalene Speaks. These 7 veils are also known as 7 hells, because the 7 chains where you have chained your soul to the flesh, these are chains that take you into certain afterlife realities. After having read many of these ancient scriptures from India, from the Vedic texts, I learned of these afterlife realities, and I perfectly linked them to Mary Magdalene's 7 veils, to the 7 sins, to the 7 hells, to the 7 virtues and the 7 heavens. And they're all perfectly documented in great detail within my book, Woman in Red, Magdalene Speaks. There's a good reason why I always invite people to read my book. It's not because I get big royalties and make big paychecks from my book, not at all. I merely wish to share the true and unadulterated teachings that were given to us, passed down to us through the great lineages of saints. And these pure teachings explain to us an actual practical way that we can extract ourselves from the physical chains that drag us into these afterlife realities, these 7 veils that take us to 7 hells. So we unchain ourselves with the higher reality of holy names, all-encompassing power, with the Vastu Shakti within holy name. Vastu Shakti means that all the power of Shakti Ma, of Divine Mother, all of her power, her all-conquering thunderbolt lightning power is there within her holy name. As you sing and speak the holy names of the Lord and Our Lady, remember who you are addressing, become fully present with them. Take the time to be seen by them. And from that vantage point, anchor yourself in all that you do and all that you say. God bless you. This has been fun. We'll do more of this. Radhe Radhe. Jai Gurudev. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Please remember to subscribe, like and comment. It really does help with the algorithms. Hare Krishna.